Hey guys, tonight we're going back to the Stone Age, a time when clothing was made of whatever you didn't starve to death trying to catch, and much more. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together, straight into a world where everything is sharp, cold, hungry, or on fire, sometimes all at once. You've survived the night, barely, and only because nothing hungry stumbled into your cave while you were snoring like a mammoth with sinus problems. The good news? You're alive. The bad news? You're in the Stone Age. Your bed is a rock, not like a firm mattress kind of rock, a literal slab of nature that's done nothing to accommodate your spine. If you're lucky, there's a layer of fur between you and hypothermia, probably from some unfortunate animal you didn't kill, but are now wearing like you did. It still smells like regret. You try to sit up, but your joints crack loud enough to wake a saber-toothed tiger, or at least earn a disapproving grunt from the person squatting next to you, sharpening a bone knife and looking very done with your existence. The air is cold, not charming winter walk cold. It's I can see my breath and maybe part of my soul cold. There is no fire, just the smoldering remains of what might have once been warmth, now reduced to smoke, ash, and shame. Outside, the sun hasn't even risen yet, probably because it doesn't want to. The tribe is already awake, moving around like this is normal, like waking up before dawn to gather rocks and not die is a totally reasonable lifestyle. You, on the other hand, look like someone dropped a confused poet into a survival contest. You have no idea what you're supposed to do, and frankly, neither does anyone else, but they're better at pretending. You stretch. Bad idea. You're sore in places you didn't know existed. Your shoulder clicks, your back spasms, and your hips issue a formal protest. There is no breakfast waiting, no gentle conversation, no coffee, just the cold realization that if you don't immediately start doing something useful, anything, you might get left behind or worse, eaten after you die for convenience. And that's how your morning begins. You're hungry, not just I could eat hungry. This is the kind of hunger where your stomach starts having conversations with itself, and none of them are friendly. You look around, expecting maybe a handful of berries, or even a sad strip of dried meat. There is nothing. Breakfast in the Stone Age is not a guaranteed daily ritual. It is a hypothetical, a hope, a whispered prayer to an uncaring sky god who may or may not be a large rock with a face someone carved in during a fever dream. If you want to eat, you have to earn it. That means digging, scraping, scavenging, or sprinting after something faster than you and hoping it's dumber. Spoiler, it isn't. Everything you want to eat either has legs or thorns, and in both cases, it uses them against you. You watch as a wiry man gnaws on a root that looks like something you'd avoid even touching. He offers you a piece. It tastes like wet wood that lost a bet, but it fills your mouth and, more importantly, it doesn't actively try to kill you. A rare win. Someone else holds up a dead bird like they just discovered gold. It's about the size of your hand, mostly feathers and nerves. They start plucking it with the efficiency of someone who's done this a lot, which is comforting until you realize they're keeping the whole thing. Apparently, catching food means you get to eat it. What a concept! You consider foraging. After all, how hard could it be to spot something edible? Very, it turns out. Every fruit looks either suspiciously bright or aggressively bland. You pluck something that looks vaguely like a plum. A woman slaps it out of your hand before you can taste it. She doesn't say anything, just gives you a look that says, I've seen people drop dead faster than that. So you settle for chewing on a piece of old root and pretending it's enough. It isn't. Your stomach isn't fooled. It begins planning your betrayal. You're fasting permanently if you're not careful. You want to be helpful. That's cute. The tribe is already busy. Someone's sharpening a flint blade. Someone else is weaving sinew into something that might be a net or a trap, or just a creative way to make you feel unskilled. You pick up a rock. You stare at it. It stares back. Congratulations, you're bonding with a rock. Tools are not decorations here. They're the reason anyone has teeth left. They cut, scrape, smash, dig, and occasionally get used to settle arguments. And unless you've spent years figuring out which stone breaks into blades and which one just breaks your thumb, you're about as useful as a damp leaf. You try to copy what the others are doing. A man smacks two stones together and produces a razor-sharp edge in 3 swings. You try the same. The rock splits unevenly and flings a shard directly into your face. You're bleeding now, but hey, you've successfully recreated the experience of early surgery. A woman is making cord from strips of hide. She does it with the efficiency of someone who's been doing this since her literal infancy. You attempt the same. The hide slips, coils, and somehow ties your fingers together. You've invented Stone Age handcuffs. That's something. No one explains anything. They don't need to. Tools are so essential, they're treated like breathing. Expected, obvious, and really noticeable when you're bad at it. And you're bad at it. You sit down with your 2 rocks and attempt a new strategy, staring until inspiration strikes. It doesn't. What strikes is another flake of stone right into your lap. You pretend it was intentional. No one buys it. Eventually, someone takes pity and hands you a half-finished scraper, not out of kindness, but because watching you fail is slowing everyone down. You nod gratefully and then hold it the wrong way. They shake their head and go back to work. It's getting colder again, which is impressive considering you didn't think colder was still an option. Your fingers are stiff, your nose has stopped issuing temperature updates, and your feet are starting to feel like someone else's problem. You decide it's time to make fire. After all, how hard can it be? You've seen it done in drawings and dreams. Step 1, gather dry wood. You don't find dry wood. Everything's damp, stubborn, and covered in something that may or may not be alive. You pick the least suspicious bundle and hope for the best. Step 2, friction. You rub sticks together. Nothing happens. You rub harder. Still nothing. Eventually, you create heat, then smoke, and then more smoke. It's just enough to burn your eyes and give you false hope. Then the wind shows up and mocks your efforts by blowing it all away. You keep going. By now your hands are blistered, your arms ache, and your confidence has quietly left the camp without saying goodbye. You glance over. One of the elders has a fire going already. No ceremony, no drama. Just a small, perfect flame nestled in a pile of dry moss like it was born there. You look back at your pile. It looks like it's been cursed. Eventually, someone notices. They walk over, silently take your kindling, rearrange it with the efficiency of a bored god, and strike two rocks together with a flint edge. Sparks, smoke, flame, done. They hand it to you without a word and walk off before you can say thank you or teach me your dark magic. You stare at the fire now burning in your pile. You pretend it was your idea. No one believes you. Fire is everything: warmth, light, safety, cooked food, and the only reason predators haven't dragged you off into the night. But it's not easy. It never was. Every flame is a battle, and you just lost 5 of them in a row. You're thirsty, deep dry mouth like sandpaper thirsty, the kind of thirsty that makes you consider licking moss or chewing bark just to feel something wet. Luckily, there's a stream nearby. You stumble toward it like a man possessed. Finally, something easy. You kneel, cup your hands, and scoop up a glorious handful of crystal clear water. You drink, and then you pause. That water had a taste, not a flavor, a message. It whispered something metallic and vaguely threatening. A few seconds later, your stomach replies with a gurgle that sounds like it's filing a complaint. Here's the thing. In the Stone Age, water is not clean or filtered. It's not lovingly piped from snowmelt through a mountain spring. It's a wild, communal soup. Animals drink from it. People bathe in it. Sometimes things die in it. Sometimes people drink it after things die in it. There is no quality control. There is only risk. You look around for signs, any sign that this water is safe. No one else is drinking. That might be a clue. One of the elders is boiling something over a fire. Smart. You didn't do that. You drank straight from the source like it owed you something. A small child walks by and hands you a hollowed out gourd of water. It's warm, smells faintly like dirt, and still looks safer than whatever just settled in your lower intestine. But there's no other option. You're in the middle of a society that hasn't discovered plumbing, filtration, or even consistent advice on which puddles won't end your week. Thirst is constant, and water is everywhere, just inconveniently weaponized. You hear a story, half whispered, about a man who drank from the wrong bend in the river and didn't make it to morning. You nod slowly, trying to commit the story to memory, while also pretending you didn't just do the exact same thing. Now it's a waiting game. Will you hydrate and feel better? Or are you about to spend the next 12 hours regretting your entire tongue's decision-making process? You've decided to join the hunt. Bold, brave, doomed. You're handed a spear. It's heavy, uneven, and smells like the last thing it was jammed into. Probably something with tusks. The others check their gear calmly, like they're just going out to pick up groceries if groceries actively tried to impale you. You follow the group into the woods. The air is quiet, too quiet. You assume this is good. It's not. The silence means every animal within a mile knows you're here and has decided it doesn't want to be. Eventually, someone spots something. A wild boar. It's massive. It looks like it bench presses logs for fun. You raise your spear. Your hand is shaking. Your confidence is even shakier. The boar looks up. You freeze. The boar doesn't. It charges. You run. That's it. That's your strategy. You sprint through the trees, trip over a root, and eat dirt. Not a metaphor, actual dirt. It tastes as inspiring as your performance. Behind you, the real hunters are moving with precision. One darts left, another flanks from the side. Spears fly. The boar goes down. The tribe cheers. You are still on the ground, rethinking your entire identity. They drag the carcass back to camp. It takes 4 people and a lot of grunting. You limp behind them, trying to look like you helped. You didn't. Back at the fire, they butcher the animal with stone knives and practiced hands. You get handed a strip of raw meat. You chew it like someone trying to understand how flavor works. It's chewy, slightly warm, and weirdly emotional. This was supposed to be your moment, your heroic breakthrough. But the truth is, in the Stone Age, hunting is not cinematic. It's exhausting, it's dangerous, and most of the time, you don't get the animal. The animal gets you. You've learned something important today. You are not the apex predator. You're the guy who clogs up the hunting party and almost gets gored to death by an angry pig after almost getting trampled to death by an overgrown pork missile. You decide to try something safer. Plants. How hard could foraging be? You've seen leaves. You've even touched a mushroom once. You're basically an herbalist. You head out with a small woven pouch and boundless optimism, 2 things that historically get people killed within minutes. You found something that looks promising, a berry bush. The berries are small, shiny, and vividly colored, which is either a sign of nutrition or a blaring biological warning siren. You grab one. Just as you're about to pop it into your mouth, a nearby woman swats your hand away like she's saving your life, which, to be fair, she is. No one explains anything. They don't have to. You're supposed to know what's edible and what's fatal, and if you don't, well, the tribe gets 1 story richer. You move on, dig up a few tubers, try to act like you know what you're doing. You even sniff a mushroom with scholarly curiosity before tossing it, remembering that fungi in this world are less side dish and more hallucinate into the void before dying under a fern. A man shows you something that looks like a shriveled brown carrot. He nods. You nod back as if you knew this plant personally. You chew a piece. It tastes like soil and regret, but you're not dead yet, which qualifies as success. The truth is, plants are the real gatekeepers of survival. They don't run, they don't bite. They just sit there quietly waiting for you to make a mistake. 1 bite of the wrong leaf, and it's a race between vomiting and your nervous system shutting down. And even the edible ones are work. Some roots need boiling, some leaves need drying, some seeds will kill you if you forget to roast them first. There are no shortcuts, only symptoms. By the time you return to camp, you've gathered 2 vaguely safe tubers, a few edible flowers, and a newfound respect for herbal knowledge you absolutely do not possess. Let's talk about what you're wearing, or rather, what you've been wrapped in like a poorly packed meatloaf. Your outfit consists of animal hides that were scraped clean with a rock, dried over smoke, and stitched together with a technique best described as functional but vaguely insulting. It doesn't fit. It doesn't breathe. It smells like something that was recently alive and still might be. There are no sleeves, just holes where your arms are expected to exit. The garment itself is stiff in places it shouldn't be, loose in places it really shouldn't be, and generally designed by someone whose only fashion goal was "don't die today." You tug at the edges, trying to adjust it. Bad idea. The seams, made of dried sinew, respond by digging deeper into your skin. Now you're chafing. Congratulations! In the Stone Age, clothing comes with side effects. Nearby, a woman is softening a new hide by chewing it. Yes, chewing it. This is considered normal. You briefly wonder how desperate someone had to be to discover that teeth were a viable tailoring tool. You try to look dignified. It's hard. Your fur tunic flaps weirdly when you move. Your boots are two mismatched scraps tied together with strips of gut, and your inner thighs are now at war with your outer thighs over territory. Then there's the temperature. Somehow your hide outfit manages to be too warm and too cold at the same time. The fur traps heat around your torso, making you sweat, while your limbs dangle freely in the wind like sacrifices to the frost gods. And don't even ask about rain. Hides get wet. Wet hides get heavy. And suddenly you're walking around wrapped in a soggy animal sponge that slowly reanimates as it drips down your back. Meanwhile, the rest of the tribe looks perfectly at ease in their handmade gear. Their clothes move with them. Yours moves against you, like it resents being worn by someone this incompetent. You think the tribe likes you? That's adorable. You've been here a day, maybe two. You haven't actively endangered anyone yet, and you're trying your best, which in Stone Age terms still ranks just below dead weight and just above animal bait. Nobody says it out loud, of course, that would be effort. But the signs are there. When the group sits around the fire, they sit slightly closer to each other, leaving you a generous 4-foot buffer zone, like you're contagious, which, considering you drank from the wrong stream, might be accurate. Social status here is based on one simple metric: usefulness. Can you hunt? Can you gather? Can you not scream when insects crawl up your leg? No? Then congratulations, you're not part of the inner circle. You're more of a temporary guest, a very flammable one. You try to contribute. You offer a root. It's the wrong root. You try to help tan a hide. You poke a hole straight through it. Someone hands you a bundle of sticks and gestures vaguely toward the fire. You stand there holding it like you're about to invent performance art. They stop asking you to help. At one point, a child offers you a sharp rock. You assume it's a gift. It isn't. It's a test. You fail it by holding the blade upside down and bleeding onto your own foot. No one reacts. That's the worst part. No one mocks you. They just move on, like nature, like weather. You're not worth getting angry about yet. You overhear someone grunt in your direction. It's a tone you don't understand, but you feel it in your bones. Not threatening, not friendly, just observational. The same way someone might comment on a log that's not burning properly. You are the log. And you start to wonder if the wolves would be a more forgiving audience. There's no lantern, no torch, no warm glow from a bedside table lamp. The sun drops behind the horizon like a guillotine. And just like that, the world turns black. Not dim, not cozy black. The fire crackles, casting a flickering circle of light that somehow makes everything just visible enough to be more terrifying. Trees rustle in the distance. Something howls. It's either a wolf or something that eats wolves. Either way, it knows where you are. It's been waiting for you to fall asleep. You scoop closer to the fire. No one joins you. Most of the tribe is already curled up together in a pile of hides, forming a warm collective mass of mutual trust and shared body heat. You're not invited. You're the one who sneezed during the hunting party and scared off a deer. You get the cold side of the cave. Sleep doesn't come easy. Every sound outside the fire's glow sounds like it has an agenda. A twig snaps. You sit up. A branch creaks. You stop breathing. Something snorts or maybe exhales from behind the rock wall. You make peace with your gods. You don't know their names, but you figure they'll understand. Even the stars look like they're judging you. Beautiful, yes, but useless. You can't eat them, can't wear them, and they won't scare off whatever just moved near the cave entrance. You close your eyes. You open them again almost immediately. Your brain reminds you that you're wrapped in a damp fur coat and lying on a slab of uneven earth, surrounded by people who may or may not notice if you get dragged away in the night. And here's the thing. If something does eat you, it won't be out of malice. It'll be out of efficiency. You're slow, you're weak, and judging by the way you failed to cook that root earlier, you probably smell like panic. You wake up sore, stiff, and somehow colder than when you fell asleep, which shouldn't be possible, but the Stone Age enjoys new forms of suffering. Your fur wrap has shifted in the night, offering little more than emotional support. Your ankle feels like it lost a fight with a rock, and there's a new bite on your arm. Could be a bug, could be a rodent. Honestly, you're just glad something found you useful. Outside the cave, the tribe is already up again. You don't know when they sleep. Maybe they don't. Maybe exhaustion is just something they wrestle into submission like everything else in their lives. You hobble toward the fire pit, hoping for something warm. There isn't. The ashes are cold. The fire went out sometime during the night. A group decision, apparently, that didn't involve consulting you or your fingers, which are now numb enough to qualify as decorative. You attempt to rejoin the group. Someone hands you a stick. No instructions, no explanation. You assume it's for poking something. Maybe a task, maybe self-defense. Maybe they're just testing to see what you'll do with it. You fail, obviously. Every movement hurts. Your muscles ache from doing things they weren't designed for, namely survival. Your shoulders scream from carrying too little, too wrong. Your knees feel like someone filled them with gravel. Your pride, somewhere back near the pile of uncooked tubers you tripped over yesterday, the others are already organizing. Someone's reinforcing the shelter wall with bones. Another's gutting something with terrifying ease. You try to help again and manage to trip over a child's toy, which is literally just a small rock with a face on it. The child stares at you like you've insulted his ancestors. You probably have. No one tells you what to do. That's not how things work here. You're expected to know. And if you don't, you're expected to figure it out without asking stupid questions like, is this sharp thing supposed to be covered in blood already? At first you think it's raining. It isn't. It's starting to rain, which is worse because now you know the full downpour is coming and you're not ready. No one's ever ready. Even the people who've lived here their entire lives glance up and frown, like the sky just made a rude joke. You shuffle over to the edge of the shelter being a generous word for some branches tied together with gut strings and the hope that trees are waterproof. Spoiler, they're not. The wind picks up. It cuts through your hide clothing like you're wearing a damp napkin. Your boots, which are just scraps of animal skin tied around your feet, begin soaking through immediately. Your toes squish. You pretend not to notice. The rain begins in earnest. Cold, fat drops that feel less like water and more like punishment. Everything is suddenly slick. The fire sputters. The walls creak. The smell of wet fur fills the air like an apology no one wants to hear. You duck into the cave, hoping for relief. It's slightly better. Slightly. The roof leaks in 3 different places and the floor is now mud. You watch a centipede confidently stroll across your sleeping area. It seems more prepared for this life than you are. The others are already adjusting. Someone's moving firewood inside, and others are hanging hides to dry near the smoke. You try to help and knock over a stack of tools. A loud clatter follows. So do the glarers. You are now both wet and in the way. Later, someone tosses you a half-dry pelt to wear. You drape it around yourself like a soggy emperor and try not to look too grateful. It helps. Not much, but a little. You sit down, dripping quietly into a puddle, while the storm howls outside like it has a personal vendetta against your comfort. It starts with a cough, nothing dramatic, just a little scratch in the throat. You try to ignore it. By mid-morning, you're wheezing like a dying goat, and your nose has decided to self-destruct. Your eyes are watering. Your skin feels warm. Not cozy warm. Infection warm. You announce this to no one because no one is going to do anything about it. You have officially entered the medical care phase of the Stone Age. Congratulations. There are no doctors, no clinics, no herbs arranged neatly on a wooden shelf by someone named Fern. Instead, an elder takes one look at you, grunts, and hands you a wad of crushed leaves. You chew them. It tastes like moldy spinach marinated in old sweat. You nod solemnly as if it's helping. It isn't. Your fever worsens. Someone suggests a steam treatment. This involves sitting in a hole next to heated rocks while they pour water over them. You cough, sweat, and contemplate death. It's like a sauna designed by someone who's only ever heard of saunas from hallucinations. At some point, someone smears a mixture of mud, herbs, and possibly animal fat onto your chest for drawing out the spirits, apparently. You don't ask questions. You're too busy vibrating from chills. Pain? There's no pain relief. You get a stick to bite on, and a knowing look from the tribe's unofficial healer, a woman with exactly 3 teeth and a permanent scowl. She whispers something in a language that might just be annoyed breathing. The cure for anything, it seems, is either time, luck, or not dying before it goes away. You try to sleep. Your dreams are strange. In one, you're being chased by a squirrel of the size of a bison. In another, your spear is talking. You wake up gasping in a puddle of your own sweat and leaf fragments. By the end of the day, you're not better, but you're not worse either, which in Stone Age terms means you might survive. Or you might just be entering phase 2, bone pain. You accidentally bumped someone today. Not hard, just a little shoulder graze on your way to sit by the fire. They looked at you like you just challenged them to a duel. You stammered an apology. They didn't answer. They simply stood up, squared their shoulders, and stared at you until your soul left your body through your socks. It turns out conflict resolution in the Stone Age is not based on open dialogue and active listening. It's more of a, let's see who survives this disagreement kind of culture. There's no concept of de-escalation. No one is diffusing the tension with a calming voice or a gentle reminder that we're all part of a team. Instead, someone casually sharpens a stick nearby, not because of your conflict, just as a general lifestyle choice. But still, the message is clear. Don't push your luck. Disputes are settled through stares, silence, or sudden acts of deeply personal violence. If it escalates, there are options: a fight, an insult ritual, or just straight up banishment into the woods where the leopards are always hiring. You try to smooth things over by offering a smoked fish. It's not accepted, not because of the gesture, but because the fish is overcooked. And now you've offended someone's grandmother who invented that recipe 8 generations ago.
Eventually, a tribal elder mutters something and breaks a small stick in half. This is symbolic. You don't know of what, but the man you bumped grunts and walks away. Apparently, you're not worth murdering yet. Later, someone pats you on the back, either in reassurance or to check how many ribs you still have. You're not sure. What you've learned is that in the Stone Age, maintaining peace takes real skill. A wrong glance, an unfair share of meat, or breathing too loud during sleep can spark consequences you can't talk your way out of. There's no agree to disagree. There's just agree or dig a hole. In modern times, you'd leave a 1-star review. Here, you leave the tribe, or they leave you. Well, you did it, sorta. You've made it through a full Stone Age day. Though made it might be a stretch. You're alive, yes, but not exactly thriving. Your clothes are damp. Your pride is shredded. Your stomach hasn't forgiven you, and every muscle in your body has filed a formal complaint. But technically, you're still breathing, which here qualifies as success. The tribe has an exiled youth. Maybe an oversight, or maybe they've silently agreed you're too entertaining to get rid of just yet. After all, watching you attempt to climb that tree for berries did provide the entire group with 6 minutes of bonding. As night falls again, you sit near the fire, not close, but closer than yesterday. You're beginning to understand the rhythm of this world. The quiet mornings, the harsh sun, the constant need to earn everything: food, shelter, respect with hands that weren't trained for any of this. No one has explained anything to you. They never do. This is not a world of instructions. It's a world of observation, of imitation, of failing until failure teaches you what survival won't. Someone hands you a strip of roasted meat. You nod in thanks. It's tough, salty, and has a hint of fur. You chew it like it's your last meal. It might be you still don't belong here. Not really. Your brain keeps trying to apply logic from another time, one with microwaves and socks, but slowly, painfully, it's starting to adapt. You now know that fire doesn't make itself. Water is rarely a gift. And roots are trying to kill you. The tribe chats quietly in their own language, one that's more gesture and expression than words. You catch none of it, but you nod anyway. It seems polite. You lie down on your patch of cold earth, wrapped in furs that smell like every animal in the forest played tug-of-war with them. Your body hurts. Your dignity is gone. But for now, nothing is biting you. In the Stone Age, that's about as good as it gets. You wouldn't last a day. Technically, you just did. But let's not push our luck with a second one. It began with silence and formality. Two things that in Edo period Japan were never as harmless as they seemed. Lord Asano Naganori of Eiko, a young daimyo from western Japan, had been summoned to the shoguness palace in Edo to perform a delicate duty, receive and entertain envoys from the Emperor of Kyoto. This was no small task. The court demanded precision. Protocol was everything, and watching over the ceremonies was a man named Kira, a high-ranking court official, master of rituals, and unofficially, a man infamous for expecting bribes. Lord Asano, however, was not one to play those games. He came from a proud samurai lineage. Honor was not a bargaining chip, and perhaps to his own detriment, he had a face that could not pretend to smile. Kira noticed, and Kira resented it. Over the days that followed, Kira began needling Asano with insults, quiet jabs, sharp corrections, petty humiliations. The courtly halls of Edo Castle echoed with whispers. Kira had called Asano a country bumpkin, had mocked his manners, had made him wait outside rooms he was supposed to host. The tension built quietly and painfully, like pressure beneath lacquered wood. And then, on the 21st day of the 3rd month, in the year 1701, it snapped. In a hallway of Edo Castle, Asano drew his short sword and attacked Kira. His blade grazed the older man's face and shoulder an insult. Not a kill, but to draw a weapon inside the Shogun's palace. That was unforgivable, no matter the provocation. Kira survived. Asano was immediately arrested. Within hours, the shogunate passed judgment. No investigation, no second chances. Lord Asano was ordered to commit seppuku ritual suicide by sunset. His lands were confiscated. His retainers were cast out. His family was and most cruelly of all, Kira remained.